Hello and welcome to Upload,
A podcast by those who upload, for those who want to,
or who already do.
and anyone else for that matter.
My name is Lionheart and I've been creating content for over a decade.
And my name's Midgeman, and I've been trying to create content for almost a decade.
Together with some of our friends and fellow content creators, we're going to be exploring the great big world of content creation.
We'll be looking into the serious topics that face content creators today.
Because if someone said that to me, like, in person, or said that kind of stuff to me, you know, IRL, I wouldn't take it. So why would I take it, like, online? Why would I hide aspects of sort of my identity?
As well as some less serious topics.
I've been blindsided by the fact that one of your old live streams is called Suck My Missile for like the last
Sorry,
10
what?
minutes.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Upload.
Hello and welcome to Upload, the content creation podcast for those who upload, for those who want to, and everyone in between. My name is Midgeman.
And I'm Lionheart.
And before we get on with today's episode, do not forget to like, rate, subscribe, comment if you haven't already. And if you want to get in touch with the podcast, you can do so at hello at uploadpodcast.co.uk. I forgot my own email address at that point then. And yes, please get in touch with us at the email. I haven't checked the email today. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to check the email live and be upset that there isn't
In the brief few seconds, do the engagement thing on the platform of your choice that you're watching or listening this to. Bing. There must be an easier way of like summarizing, like, please do the free engagement thing that takes a few seconds that really helps us out.
Oh yeah, Beyond helps us out as well. That is the best way to support this podcast more than anything.
I think we could probably universally say, like, it's the biggest free thing you can do, aside from actually watching our content on all the free platforms and stuff like that. It's just taking a few seconds to, if it's say for YouTube, leave a like or a dislike, because any kind of rating is better than no kind of rating. Drop a comment as well, like just a few seconds off. And the same with tweets. Tweets are like massive for engagement. A like, a retweet, and a comment, even if you're just throwing a silly GIF or something like that, but just something, a little bit of engagement, few seconds is incredible.
If you're watching a clip on TikTok as well, reposting it, the algorithm goes wild, because as soon as one person reposts it, it sends, I think there's a stat on it, it sends it to another 200 people. It's ridiculous.
And drop a comment on them, because again, like, just when it starts seeing it get engagement, it starts, like, as you say, dramatically rolling out the levels of engagement that it pushes it out to.
Actually, that brings us onto a kind of a nice topic. And before I go on, I did just check the email, and the only thing that's been sent in is some setups to review. So remember, get your setups in if you're...
We're going to say it's some spam stuff. It's like, and, oh, here's your...
There's always spam stuff. But there's some setups to review. So remember, we will be doing...
If we're ever scraping the barrel of content, let's review the spam emails we got in the Upload podcast email this week.
We do have a main topic today, and we are going to be talking again about sponsorship today. So we're going to be talking money. It's everyone's favorite time. But before we get on, there's a couple of things that we were like sort of talking about in the pre-game. First one is Lionheart was slightly ranting about how he doesn't like people holding microphones.
Yeah, some microphones, like if the microphone's designed to be held, but like the whole like TikTok, Instagram thing of like getting a lapel mic and holding it directly at your mic, at your mouth, and talking at it, and then pushing it right into the face of whoever you're interviewing, that grinds my gears.
This is what I was trying to get on beforehand. The reason I brought it up is because there's a really, really interesting like documentary social experiment dive into this by Tom Nicholas on why YouTubers hold microphones. It is honestly it's about an hour like documentary. It's on YouTube, and also I think it's on Nebula.
Is it part of actually like drawing people in, because you're like, why is that person standing there with a microphone?
Essentially, it's a psychoanalyzing what it does to the human brain and why the trend of holding microphones, especially ones that aren't
necessarily meant to be held,
why that's a thing. And like you said, partially it's human brain understanding that they're holding something, then human brain understanding that actually that's not normally held like that. So you actually engage with it longer, and then your subconscious brain picks up on the content and stuff.
I think I've seen something similar on it as well. Is also that when they then offer you the mic, it's weird that it tends to catch more people off guard, but also I think there's something again like the kind of analysis of it, which is that it actually prompts often a more genuine response. If you catch someone off guard like that, they're more likely to actually engage with you and actually answer you, and be very candid and potentially more truthful with their response, because you're kind of suddenly flinging, because everyone knows, vaguely, microphone, oh, okay, right, they're going to ask me something, and then you're suddenly like, and your brain goes through this whole like cycle of like, do I want to talk to this person? And then it's like, well, actually, I do know this thing about this thing they're asking, or like, oh, I get to have my say. This reminds me of when, like, back at school, you'd be in English class, you'd be reading a Shakespeare, and there'd always be someone being like, the teacher would say, like, so why do we think he wrote that specific, what is he really trying to say? And it's often, I'd think it as well, be like, maybe he just wanted to say that. Like, do we need to dive 20 layers deep? But it is funny that, as with most things, actually, there are specific reasons why people, present themselves a certain way, carry themselves a certain way, the manner at which someone stands or sits or crosses their arms, or the way they look into a camera can be analyzed. It may not need to be, but it can be. And holding a microphone is exactly the same.
We've said before, if your camera is slightly at an off angle, so for example, if you're turned like this, or when you're playing games, always flip, no matter if it flips whatever the text is, say on your shirt or whatever, always flip your camera so your eye line is facing the screen, because people will see you, and then they will follow your eye line to what you're playing and doing, and have people focus on what you're doing more. It's actually a really interesting dive, and I do recommend people go check out that video. If I remember correctly, they dive into the different reasons of when you should and shouldn't do it, and what the evolution has been over the years. It's very kind of a little bit history, a little bit resource. It's a good video either way.
I'm assuming the whole like microphone like that small directly into your face is to also it prompts a response more likely than just going, hey, would you like to talk? Whereas if it's like, hey, would you like to talk? You're like, oh, right, yeah, well, yeah, sure, okay. Again, it's all about kind of catching people off guard, and actually like it brings them into the conversation regardless of whether they wanted to or not, in a way, which for Instagrammers, TikTokers that are trying to do those out on the street, random question pieces.
Out on the street, random questions. Most of those are actually hard.
Which are, hey, here's 20 of my friends, quickly line up and circle through.
Yeah, a lot of those are actually pre-planned and cast these days. They do it on the street. Again, it's
the
one of
whole
those things
social experiment thing.
It on the street makes it seem more approachable and engageable from a general audience.
I saw a whole social experiment one, which actually, right at the end, it was actually like, the social experiment has been you, the viewer, watching, because how many of you reacted in an outraged way? Because actually, all these people we went up to supposedly randomly, they're like, they're all my friends, and then, or they're all my cast people. I mean, some of them felt a bit off anyway, but they tried to create believable responses. But it was kind of like, yeah, here's the camera flip, fourth wall break. It's on you guys watching to see how outraged you'd be, actually witnessing us do this. And in fact, that's not the social experiment at all. It's, I mean, most of those social experiments, they're not with live people on the street, because vast majority of people will be like, no, go away, you weirdo. No, whatever. So you need to, you've got to get the responses for that type of content.
Getting someone to stop and talk to you in London? No, that never happens.
No, you have to go somewhere far friendlier than London. But not that it's not friendly.
I don't know why when you were saying that about social experiments, it turns on you, the viewer. I just then imagine like the host kicks down your door where your laptop is and appears and just rushes you with these. He's holding a lapel mic at your face and he's just going, you're the experiment now. Talk to them.
I've actually got someone strapped to the back of the chair holding a microphone that I'm going to turn around and be like, so what did you think of this upload podcast?
Or what did you do with my family?
Can have them back later. It's mad how deep it can go beyond just what you initially see and how much there is to it. But yeah, no, sorry, I should say London can be very friendly. It's more a British thing that we just don't talk to other people. We do a nod and a hello, and that's about it. Maybe a good morning if you're lucky.
So that's another like social understanding of basically in urban environments. It's the difference between urban and rural environments in that the social people have social batteries. They're all different filled up at different times, and the more respectful thing to do in an urban environment when there's more people close together all the time is to ignore one another, to not waste someone's social battery, and it's a subconscious thing. Whereas in a rural environment, there's less people around, you're more likely to have just a longer conversation with a random person because they're like, as a human, we know subconsciously we need conversation at some point.
If I go for a little walk down to the co-op near me in the little village where I live, I guarantee little old Maureen on her way, if I'm on the same, you know, schedule as she is, visiting to pick up her prescriptions, I'm getting stopped. And it's not just a quick stop. She's got to tell me about the cats and, you know, how things are going.
Or if someone's walking their dog and you're on the path trajectory and that dog is interested in you, not only do you have to scruff the dog, but then you have to ask how their day is.
You then have to scruff the owner. It's like, okay,
who's a good owner?
Who's doing for a good walkies with their doggy? Yeah,
I am.
There's some weird little villages out there. All right, guys.
Let's get on with the actual topic today. And I wanted to go back to sponsorship because we've touched on it a little bit. We're both working, well, we've both worked with sponsorship, you more heavily. And actually, I had a sponsorship deal that I was working on recently. I was very happy to be working with. I'd done like an ad integration, there's a full written script, and then suddenly it was pulled from underneath me. And today I was re-offered the sponsorship at a far worse rate. When is the right time to use a sponsorship? For one thing. Two, what are things to avoid when you see sponsorships, especially like, for example, using places like Stream Elements where they offer you sponsorship, but it's kind of out of your hands. It's not like direct conversation. And, you know, what are the boons of? Like, what are your tips for doing sponsorship correctly? We've spoken in the past how you like direct a lot of yours to streams and utilizing your stream as kind of your sponsorship revenue avenue. But you also work with some bigger sponsorships. So, and I think by the time this episode out is, your new main sponsor will be
NZXT. I'm not wearing any of their gear because I'm literally this Friday planning to do the switch over. So we'll be on a different pair of headphones next time.
So yeah, how much of the peripherals and how much of everything is that taking over? Let's dive into that first.
So it's a full setup provision sponsorship. So brand new PC, i9 4090, all the bells and whistles there. They're basically the core part of the sponsorship is to promote their new pre-built series, their player lineup. So they have a player 1, 2, and 3 to cater to people's, you know, needs, and they also have a prime variant of each one as well. So a player 1 prime, 2 prime, and 3 prime. So they've sent me their top of the range player 3 prime, which is just all the bells and whistles on. You can still add some additional customization when you spec it out if you want, you know, more hard drive space, extra monitors, things like that. It basically offers a really solid ecosystem within those 6 different systems for basically entry level gaming all the way through to top end, and also within that content creation as well. And they do it all at a pretty reasonable price point. I mean, building your own PC versus a pre-built, the gap used to be massive. It used to be you build your own PC, or you'd pay a mate to build it for you, or even you'd pay like overclockers. I remember they didn't necessarily advertise it, but you could essentially, when you're at checkout, or you could give them a call saying, I've ordered all these parts, could you build that for me now? And they'd be like, we'll charge you an extra like 150, 200 for labor or whatever, job done. And you'd be like, great. But now it's more and more those, even if places sell parts, they tend to actually then sell their own lineup of pre-built stuff. I think the pre-built market as well is also expanding, just because you've got more and more people interested in PC gaming, potentially people coming across from consoles, and that's what pre-builts are essentially trying to emulate. That console experience of you go, you buy it, you take it home, you plug it in, and it's basically good to go. You might have a little bit of setup, but it's easy to follow along. Whereas if I said to a console player, oh right, there's your PC, it's all in parts, go build it, you would have so many people bounce off, and a lot of people have bounced off over the years, converting across or thinking about getting into PC gaming because they assume the only way to do it cost effectively is to build their own. So yeah, NZXT, I mean, previously I've been sponsored by Lenovo Legion, worked with the likes of MSI as well, and they've all got their own ranges. NZXT are really pushing hard to get into that space now as well. This is a specific sponsorship through their UK side, because they now have their own dedicated UK site, office, distribution. They actually build all the PCs now for the UK market in the UK themselves. In fact, there was a slight issue with my PC, and one of the guys drove down from the NZXT like office with a replacement CPU, because he was like, it's quicker for me just to drive it to you than sort out collecting the PC, sending it back. I'll just drive it to you. And he came in like and just swapped over the CPU. I mean, I could have done it myself, but he was like, no, I'll come do it. It's a good chance to meet you, have a chat. I doubt that is the average experience. You know, you're not going to get that. But the fact that they were willing to do that is really, really quite cool, actually. So yeah, so we got the PC. They provided a monitor with it. They're happy for me to use one of my Legion monitors as well. It's not an exclusivity clause on the monitors as such, but it is on the PC and the peripherals. So I'll have I've got their mouse, keyboard, and headset. I think it's because largely there are very, from what I understand, just broadly anyway within the market, there are very slim margins on monitors. They're probably one of the slimmest like PC components or elements. Yeah, it's not one that they're actively pushing to get a lot of sales in. If they can get a couple of sales in, great, but it's not worth the hassle of like an exclusivity clause, as well as because they don't necessarily have the broadest range. One, they do have some, I mean, the monitor they've sent is a 32-inch, a 1440p, and it's curved as well. And it's called their Canvas. And I actually think, one, that's a cracking name for a monitor lineup. And it is just stunning.
That'll be nice. My central monitor is a 32-inch curve. It's an AOC monitor. I will say, everybody in the podcast, be ready, because I have bought AOC monitors to match on the side. I'm finally getting rid of the mishmash. I've been bullied enough. It's going. So yeah,
Perfection.
AOC, if you want to sponsor me, now I'm going to have 4 AOC monitors. And the hilarious is the central monitors, like they're Gen 1, and the side monitors are going to be Gen 2. So technically they're now higher hertz and better than the central monitor. But sorry, Mike. But the central monitor obviously is the big one, and it's curved, so I'm going to be using that. But it's interesting that monitors is the lowest transfer, but one of the reasons I think maybe that could be is I think that's going to be the hardest thing for a creator to show off, because like in your, like for example, my camera here, what could I show? I can show my headset that I'm wearing. I can show the mic that's in front of me. I can show anything in the backdrop. I could probably have a camera that tilts to my desk to see the peripherals.
Unless you had something dedicated set up here to show your setup.
Here's a photo of what it looks like. It looks lush, but also here's everything it's running, and here's this, like, here's Total War 3 at all ultra settings. I'm recording it, I'm putting the thing, I'm streaming, I'm doing all those things. The monitor is one of those things of, well, my eyes are happy, that should make you happy.
It's more one of those things of like, you just want it for, you know, if someone goes, oh, what monitor do you use, by the way? And you're like, type exclamation mark monitor into chat, and there's the link to the one I'm using, because that's basically the best thing I can do. I mean, I did actually have a really, I would say kind of like a viral video for me. It was a sponsored video. It was for a 1080p monitor. It was with overclockers. I called it the best 1080p monitor for gaming ? To, you know, that was the clickbaity title, but also I was trying to establish for the price point, was it the best 1080p monitor? And I was like, it's pretty darn good. If I look at the analytics actually very briefly for it, I'm trying to work out when it took a few days. Like initially it was like, yeah, it's a review video on a gaming channel, it's gonna completely tank, and like the sponsor were happy with it. They were like, it's fine, we just want to get like a little bit out to promote it. But then obviously as it kind of like hit the algorithm with the title and stuff, it started gaining some pretty decent views, and then within I think about 100 days it was up to like nearly 40,000 views, and then it skyrocketed to sort of 100k, 200k, and well past 270 now. Okay, it's 4 years on, but that still gets loads of hits because obviously it's a really searchable term. But yeah, that's the only way you can really show off a monitor, to be honest, as a creator, like doing a dedicated like video review or a sponsored look at it. Because yeah, as a streamer, you can be like, unless who is it? There is a streamer, she plays PUBG, and she has a low angle camera down on her bottom left, which looks across her whole setup. And that's her main camera view. She has other ones that she switches to, and she has a monitor very low and curved down towards her because kind of playing competitive shooting and things like that. But that gives her that low angle across her whole, which is a really nice way of seeing her setup. It's something I'm thinking of when I do get in my new space. I want to show off this NZXT setup to the best of its ability. So I'm like, do I put like a wall mount with a camera at the back that I can switch to? Like, how am I going to integrate that? Because I want to show it. Or do I get like a side angle thing? Probably going to go for a side angle thing, shooting along and across.
Could you put just for general use? I especially if you're building your own dedicated space, I'm always going to recommend you put places where you can put cameras on the fly. I know you were talking about possibly building your green screen up into a bracket. Could you attach something to that bracket?
Maybe. Although I had a chat to my builder who's my neighbor who's a builder who's helping me do it. And I was like, do we need to figure out where exactly it's going to go in line with where we've got one of the studs? And he was like, well, we've got these two here. And I was like, I think it's going to probably have to sit on that one, but we can't. I'm going to have you back one weekend once I've got the desk all set up, once I've got the camera situated where I want it. This time it will be dead center of the screen, not off to the side. I'm going to rework that. Not when I switch things into this new setup over the next few. I'm going to keep everything as is because it works. But once I move into the new space, I'm going to have centralized camera, lower monitor, and probably do what you do, which is move the Elgato mount low profile off to the side to come in, because that means I can have my monitor lower and then have the camera at a better eye level point. But I said to him, I was like, yeah, once we're in that, would you be able to come in one weekend and help me figure out where I can put this green screen? So it's good, because we need to unroll it, hold it up to the ceiling and see where it's going to go. And he was like, yeah, it's like, to be fair, if we don't find a stud, it's fine, because we've still got access from the top. We can just go in and put some new noggins, like whack another bit of wood in, screw it in, and create exactly where you want it to sit. So he was like, we can put it wherever you want. And I was like, chef kiss. Perfect. Otherwise, it's like, okay, you have to put the green screen here, so you have to settle for wherever you can then frame it within that. Whereas this is going to be like, yeah, wherever you want it, mate. As long as it's not covering a light or going into a light, we're all good. But sponsored stuff. Yeah, I'll be wearing white headphones next time you see me.
Oh,
because it's all white build. It's the only one thing they don't do in the system. Well, they is because they basically use whatever GPUs they can source. Is they don't do a white GPU. It's a PNY Accelerate branded 4090. I mean, I'd be thankful that it's just a 4090 and I'm not going to really care what brand it is, but it's not white. And I would love a white one in there.
I know there's two brands that do white 4090s.
Asus do one, and
Asus, and it's
Gigabyte, is it?
Yeah, I think it's Gigabyte.
When the 50 series comes out, if they want to upgrade it, I'm going to be like, it's got to be white, because I want to go full. I'm calling it the Blizzard PC. So it's going to be the full white setup.
Blizzard hashtag.
Yeah. Yeah. Hashtag not that Blizzard. Big old new full setup for 12 months, quarterly kickback. Well, not it was meant to launch with affiliate. Hopefully they don't mind me saying this. It was meant to launch with affiliate links, but they haven't been able to get that all set up. So it's basically full on brand awareness about their lineup, and I guess specifically their UK side. We will also have giveaways they've given me a big PC to give away each quarter, which is mad.
Oh my lord.
They're throwing a lot. They're throwing a lot at it.
NZXT is one of those things, one of those brands I've never bought, but they've always been like with their cases and stuff.
I feel like they've built a very strong brand.
It's one of those ones of
and brand appeal.
When someone says, I'm looking at this case, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's a good case. Or like, I've been looking at this thing and I'm like, oh yeah,
they make beautiful cases, really good like fan integration, good cooling, and they've basically gone like, well, we've got like a good chunk of the components here. We might as well start throwing together. I mean, they had their whole NZXT build, which allows you to do a full kind of custom spec. They even did their own NZXT motherboards, which look really cool. They kind of brought everything together, obviously using additional components and things like that to do full systems. But yeah, so they're launching. They've launched in the UK. I think that's been up for like well, I don't know how long it's actually been active, dedicated in the UK. I think they've been shipping to the UK or selling within the UK for a while, but now they've got a dedicated UK team, distribution, and everything else. But as far as I'm aware, it's kind of broadly across the whole global spectrum, but it's all controlled by the UK team as such for it.
Is it would I don't know why my brain always tries to find a middle ground with NZXT and NZXT, like the American way of saying it. So it's like I mix the vowel sounds. It's very confusing, but no, they've always been a brand that I've been like, yes, that's a solid one in the market. If someone's come up with a suggestion where they've been like, It's also, I've looked at their cases before and been like, maybe.
They've got some really good ones that are high airflow and also really good like presentational pieces.
I don't do water cooling, so I'm always looking for like airflow cases. And yeah, but I'm glad to hear that they're so
they're very forward about like being like, right, what can we do to support you as a creator? They're like, if there's any events, if you've got any like channel celebrations, charity stuff, let us know. We can see if we can provide additional support for it. So they've been really good to set up. Like, obviously we're just about to launch with it. Hopefully like that support carries on, you know, isn't just like through the planning stage and everything else. But yeah, they've been really, really good. It's been really refreshing to kind of talk to a brand that kind of just gets it. And it's also pretty laid back in what they want deliverable wise. It's basically one sponsored bit of content a quarter. And that can either be a YouTube video about some of their new tech or a Twitch stream of like 2 hours with obviously some talking points. What I would do for that is probably build that into like doing a multiplayer battle challenge, and then every, I don't know, hour do a 5-10 minute segue to be like, this is all powered by NZXT, the Player 3 Prime. You should check out their full range. The easy bit of content for me, at least, to make is obviously a video showing off the whole new setup once I'm in the new space. That's probably going to be the first bit that I do. But other than that, it's just regularly having the logo up on stream, having the call outs, being a little bit knowledgeable about obviously what they're providing so that I can tell people about their lineup. And it's very, very easy to be enthusiastic about their lineup when I've got their top of the range one there as well. And it is genuinely an absolute monster of a system. So very, very, very happy. And it looks beautiful. Like, again, I said, the presentation kind of piece-esque of the case. They've sent their H9 Elite, which is in the Player 3 Prime, and it's glass on like on the front panel and the side, and it's in white. They offer it in black and white, and it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous.
I've currently got a black build, but my previous one was like a half black, half white build. I had a really nice white case, and I was like, but the problem, I'm going like dark aesthetic with my office, so a white build would stand out. I was actually looking at I think it's the fractal design one that has the wood on the front.
Oh, the North. Is that fractal? Is that North? Yeah.
Yeah, they only do, mid tower, and I need full tower case. And I've gotten a black one from Corsair because I'm also a Corsair fanboy. But I will say that has been a great sponsorship experience. Let's talk about
the not so great one.
Not so great ones. Do you know what's worse? I've just tried to go through my emails to try and find this like given back deal. It's one of those ones now that they want exactly the same sort of stuff, but they've taken out like the direct ad integration, and it's just like essentially an affiliate link, get these people to play and you could earn up to this amount, which sucks, honestly. I wouldn't be as hurt if they turned around and said this was too late. However, the emails that I sent with them and the way that they did it made it sound like it was a mistake and that it was me that cancelled the...
No, they're trying to like blame you for it almost.
All of their graphics said you had 30 days to accept it. I'm doing this as vague as possible because I don't know what...
I'm going to say, I mean, I think I've literally just accepted that ESO one through the same one.
But it's like, you've got 30 days to accept it, and then you have 30 days to work on it. I accepted it with something like 7 days remaining because of TwitchCon. I avoided it until after I could work on it for TwitchCon. And then I got 10 days, 10 days into this month. We had already been working on it for 15 days at this point, minimum. Integration's already audially recorded, editing had started as the process, and then I go on to check the progress of it, and I see it's been cancelled, and I'm like, by me apparently. So I email my contact, because as well, this isn't one that just came through like a dashboard. This was one that was emailed to me like, hey, we want you to do this. The person that I was in contact with is now on paternity leave, so I had to then go to someone else on their team, got a reply and said, oh yeah, the sponsor has ended that campaign. That is nowhere in their graphics. That was not explained anywhere. And now today I've been offered the same game to cover as the integration. I'm pretty sure all of the material is exactly the same. I'm tempted to accept it just out of spite, just to be able to see the integration stuff. Now I'm behind on my video schedule because obviously we had to work on that. The video is already in production. Well, the video is still going to go out, It just means we're going to have to strip the integration. And that work and time is gone. And it was like, it was a guaranteed fixed fee as well. So
is it the one that I've just put in the studio chat?
So it was for this game.
Oh, right. Yeah. I know the one. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, on Stream Elements, those ones do like silly. Well, that's how they get you interested, because they're like, earn up to $11,000, and it's basically, when you look through the breakdown, it's like it's a fixed fee of like $200, which is rubbish to have on your stream, because to be able to that's how they get it, because they go, oh, it's just the 1 hour stream, it's $200 fix, and you instantly, oh, you know what, $200 for an hour of, like, I don't even have to just play the game, I just have to mention it, you know, maybe if I want to 4 times during that stream every 15 minutes if I want to, nice and easy. But it's they get you with that big number at the start, going earn up to 11,000, because it's basically like you'll get a bonus of, say, $20 for the first 100 people that get to level 5, because it's that type of game, that type of like mobile-esque title. Although I think they try and get it around it these days, because I've had a few where I'll reply back to the email saying, oh, I don't cover mobile games, and they'll come back and go, oh, it's available on Windows. I'm like, just because you've ported this trash thing to Windows doesn't mean it's a PC game. It just means it's a mobile port. It's really got to grab me to want to play one of those games where you base build, you plop all your stuff down, you run out of resources, and then have to wait 3 days to get more of your gems back. I think hopefully I'm painting a picture of the type of game to the audience of what to expect. If you enjoy that sort of game, nothing wrong with that. Like, they're good if you want to just dip in and out casually and do stuff.
I think this is more partially on how Stream Elements, I've sent them this feedback, so I'm comfortable with saying this. So this was handled through Stream Elements. Their guys over email have been perfect. Their team have been really good. Their graphics saying that you have 30 days left, and then for things, doesn't say that the sponsorship or this campaign has a deadline or anything. There's nothing of that in there. Like, I've just clicked into my past sponsorships, and it's still there. And it literally says at the top of it, you rejected this offer. You rejected this offer on this date. You would have 14 days left to complete right now. I'm still in the completion of that like thing, but it's not. It's
when we eventually get Alex Jordan on here, we should talk to him about his experience with Stream Elements and their HelloFresh campaign, because he got royally screwed over.
I got screwed over by a HelloFresh campaign
with them not counting certain ones, and he was like, well, they went through all the links, they used the right codes, and you've not added this on. And they were like, oh, because it came in after it had ended. And he was like, but they started it here. He was like, oh, there's this like fine print bit where it's like it has to fully be delivered by this point. It's like, well, they ordered it, and like they wouldn't have done it otherwise. They were doing it to support me, and they're not doing it. I mean, that's the thing with these things. Nobody's really diving into this game necessarily for the mobile type ones, because they're like, oh, mobile game. They're doing it to support you as a creator. I've just had a look, and honestly, I've been absolutely disgusting. I could have a maximum payout of $19,949 on Ant Legion for the Swarm. But if I click on it, like, and it goes $300 base, which actually isn't terrible. That's for a 2-hour stream, which actually $300 for that is that's well below what I would usually charge. It's mobile only contributions count to it. And then they have 5 earning goals. So this is what I was saying, like 19k sounds insane. You'd be like, oh, okay, fine. It's not a game. It's not a particularly great game, but surely my community will spend 10, 15 minutes helping me out doing that. Cause just even if you wanted to say, you know what, guys, do this, and I'll do a giveaway for like, $4,000 worth of stuff comfortably. It's not even, but they get you because it goes, goals to do it. You get $12 per new user. And to be fair, it does actually have a decent breakdown there where it says it'll take about 20 minutes for them to complete getting to Queen level 5 with your ant farm. And it allows you to go up to a maximum of 136 people, which would generate $1,632. Then they do the same thing if you rally an attack, which takes about 30 minutes. So then they start getting you with, and this is the bit I think is naughty, because this is the bit where they're now actively encouraging creators to encourage their community to then spend money on a game that is, mobile trash. Like, if you enjoy it, it's fine.
As an avid Raid Shadow Legends player myself.
Yeah. The thing is, if you enjoy it, if you want to dip and dive in, that's fine. Like, that's fine. But I think it's $40 per new user that signs up then to a silver weekly pass. Now, I don't know how much a silver weekly pass costs, but I'm assuming it's probably that's how they're going to start really farming in the revenue, right? That can generate you $5,440 with a maximum of 136 people. And then there's a golden monthly pass, which will give you $80 per sign up that goes into that, generating you $10,880 from that bit.
Knowing a mobile game, if it's a monthly pass, that's like golden monthly pass, it's probably £30 a month.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, okay, if you really connect with it and if you suddenly go, you know what, this is my new casual game, I'm happy to spend some money in it, fine. But I feel like those bits pass the first two bits. So, I mean, look at those first bits. You've got probably, if you include the base fee for it, you've got nearly $4,000 of stuff that people can do completely for free. And they need to spend maximum about like an hour of their time playing this game via your link to support you. I mean, $4,000 for an hour of your viewers' time, if they're interested in supporting you that way, that's quite a good return, and quite, I think most streams would feel comfortable saying, and I've said to my stream when I had the AdSense issues back in like November, December, I was like, guys, I'm just looking at my stream elements thing, and there's some really like tasty payouts potentially there, but it would require you guys to play some potentially crappy mobile games. Anyone up for it? And my community obviously will really support. They were like, yeah, of course, we'll do that for you. And I was like, it's probably not in the spirit of the sponsorship campaign, but largely I doubt anyone cares broadly, because as long as they're hitting their metrics and they go, well, look, we generated you another 1,000 people on it, everyone's going to go, yeah, that's good ad spend, because realistically the margins are so high because they only need one person to buy a gold monthly pass at $30 or whatever it is to go, yeah, that was worth the spend on that, because now we know we've hooked them and they're going to pay a few more months. They're going to buy a few more upgrades, and, they're going to upgrade their ants to silver tier armor or whatever it is. I wouldn't mind those first two layers, but then as it goes on to those other bits, I'm like, I'd have to be, it'd have to be the best mobile game ever for me to really go, actually, yeah, it's worth spending some money because we've had all this amazing content for free. It's like when you get into a decent MMO and you're like, this is free to play? Wow. Oh yeah, I'm going to spend some money in it because actually I've played 100 hours. I've not spent a penny, but yeah, I want that new skin or I want that new quest line thing. I'll start doing it. And but that takes lots of effort and quality and to get to that. These are kind of fast and not necessarily cheap, but they're aimed to just cycle over quickly, and they're like, how can we take this game, we'll strip it out and we'll put a Lord of the Rings skin on it and go, look, it's Lord of the Rings Legion for the ants. I mean, for the ring. But that is honestly a disgusting payout. Anyone want to play Alien Ant Farm? Alien Ant Farm? Ant Farm Legion.
It's a band. I'll play some of it.
That's mad though.
Alexa, play Alien Ant Farm. No, don't. I won't say Alexa because that might overtake people listening to the podcast. Shut up, Alexa. Listen to. Wait. Alexa, play Upload Podcast. I will say, if you've got an active audience and you can turn over those people, these like light sponsorships would be good for you. Now, I'm a little bit cynical as well on this whole deal that I've had, because it was a good initial flat rate payout, which is why I was intrigued. Normally, I don't click on these. I did a HelloFresh one in the past, and there's no one. It's like, okay, for me, the hardest thing was the majority of my audience aren't UK. So like the people that I could activate.
Yeah, that's the thing when you get UK only.
Is like I couldn't activate my audience because actually the majority of my audience are US and Europe. So a UK only kind of would screw me because that's me and Dan. Like
Dan, you got a lot of HelloFresh to buy, mate. Buy the big box.
If he's spending his wages that I'm trying to make through HelloFresh on HelloFresh, it's not going to work. But this was a good initial payout. And it was like one of those things of, okay, I'll do this once. And I think it came off the back of like the algorithmic like back end of YouTube stats tick of that would have been a month after my Manalords content did well. So I was like, okay, that's the thing. And then this cancelled in July when my month stats for June weren't very good. So I'm like, is this because the last two videos didn't do well and they're not guides, so they weren't huge videos? If that's the case, maybe you should have just messaged me and talked to me on this deal instead of just canceling it. I don't know. I don't know if I could ever myself just try to commit to activating my audience enough on. I'm tempted to though. When you see the numbers of this sponsorship is offering you $5,000 if you get to this part. Even if you get a fraction of that, and if that pays for the editing of this podcast for a month.
I'm not going to lie, that Ant Legion one, nearly $20,000 potential max payout. That's looking mightily tasty. But I've just also then seen some of the actual gameplay for it, and I'm like, oh god, it looks so bad. I'd be like, I'll do it, but you've got to allow me to dunk on it like throughout, and they probably wouldn't be happy with perpetual dunking.
Mobile game ad deals are normally the most ruthless I've found in terms of the strict restriction.
But they typically have the most money to throw at it because they're such a high turnover product, basically.
They are the most defensive people sometimes when dealing with them as sponsorship, but sometimes they have the biggest return. So if you're willing to sell a little bit of your soul, and like it's I always joked as well. I never, when the big hype about Raid Shadow Legends ads, everyone was getting them. You know that was about like 2019.
You'd constantly get like daily emails about Raid Shadow Legends.
I never got one.
It's because they knew you'd actually take it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Why I was getting so annoyed.
I'm actually playing enjoying it, guys. Give it to me.
You don't have to.
You see, it's because you need to dunk on them more in your like I would always say, like, guys, I've had another one. Look at this. Yeah, I was like, I'll do one, but they've got to allow me to dunk on it the whole time. But if you like it, that's fine. Obviously, plenty of people do, because they have millions of users playing it, so it's obviously, okay, I can sit here and be like it's crap, but obviously, there's still a huge number of people that actually go, you know what, even if it is, it's just enjoyable idle gaming, as you say, just to dip in for 10-15 minutes a day, do your little quests, do your little dailies, tick it over, set yourself up for the next day, and drop back in, kind of like Pokemon Go, right? But obviously that had the potential that you could then spend hours playing it, because you'd go on I used to go on Poke Walks back in the height of it. Like, I had a WhatsApp group of our friends, and we were all in our late 20s, early 30s. We would generally be like, who wants to go for a walk this weekend? And you'd be a few people that would be like, oh yeah, I'll be out for a, and then someone would eventually clock on and go like, is this to do Pokemon Go? And everyone would wait for like the first few responses, which would be like, yes, and then we'd be like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, that game fully like got it. If there'd been, not that the thing is, there were ad campaigns, but there weren't broad ones across like Twitch and YouTube for it, because there didn't need to be, because the Pokemon brand is so strong, and also they actually had a really strong product to do that with. And yeah, I miss going for Pokewalk, because the thing is that you can still play it now, but the hype's died down, right? Unless you're still in that core following for it. I can't message my group of friends that we used to on WhatsApp and go, anyone want to go for a Pokemon Go walk this weekend? They'd be like, nah, we'll just go for a regular walk though. If those types of idle gaming and those sorts of things are your game, like no shade, no hate, nothing, that's fantastic. We'll just say, I think we're coming at it from a content creator perspective, which is looking at the sponsorship side of it. I mean, you should always try and be honest and authentic with your sponsorships, and obviously make sure you do all the full declarations and disclosures that you need to do, because obviously there's an element with sponsorships that you're going to potentially upsell, you're going to hype up, because in essence is what you're there to do. You're there to be a hype man, hype woman, hype person for the brand that has sponsored you, right? So you're going to want to be a little bit more excited potentially, but if you can do that in an authentic way, because you generally are enthusiastic, like the fact that I am for NZXT, I'm just like, that's fantastic. They don't need to sell me on it. I'm already there. I'm already researching the specs and stuff, and that's what they're happy with, because they're like, we've got a really authentic, genuine engagement here from the creator to their audience, so it doesn't feel like just another piece of marketing. It's quite an authentic integration and partnership that we're doing. But yeah, just if you are taking those sorts of like mobile gaming ones, try to, I don't know, maybe dial down just a smidge, and be not humble about it, but just be honest about it and what it is and what you're doing. Okay, no dunking, because the brands probably won't like it. I feel like almost those ones where it's saying, oh, you can get the big earnings through really upselling these very expensive kind of potentially monthly packages. I find that a bit predatory. And I don't like the idea of that within my community, which is largely why if I if I ever were to take a sponsorship like that, I wouldn't push those tiers. I'd be like, play the game, see if you like it, and if it's completely then up to you if you ever want to do that. There's not going to be any upselling of those elements or those stages from me. The two lower tiers that you can still earn a nice little bit from are basically just getting people to play through the first few levels and play it for about an hour, which I think is perfectly reasonable, perfectly fine. Most people can decide within an hour if they like a game or not, especially a mobile game, and especially if you kind of encourage people to play alongside you during your stream. I think that's probably the best way of doing it. That probably leads to highest number of conversions if possible, if people are able to do that as you're doing it. It's a murky grey area almost, and I feel it in a way actually it's almost a little bit predatory to creators by putting out these high potential earning max payout numbers, because obviously they're there to draw us in, to make us click on them, to make us accept those sponsorships. And it's like the only places that do that are the places like Stream Elements and, you know, similar ones, where they have like the platform for it, but they also email you through a load of things. Some are better than others, but there are some really good agencies out there. I'll quite happily shout out yours truly, who I've done quite a lot of bits with. We've done stuff for various indie games and some AAA titles, and they're just a really nice close-knit team. They're lovely people as well. I've met them at a few events and stuff, and they genuinely get the brand and creative space. Like, their offers are fair, they're really well valued. They'll also fight for you if, you know, you feel like the rates aren't fair or what's being asked of you isn't like a fair exchange. They're very much in all corners wanting the best possible result, which is what you want from an agency. The only time that you maybe potentially get a better opportunity than that is if you go directly to the game developer, but then sometimes it shows a very real need for them to use an agency, because sometimes the companies don't get it at all and either completely lowball you or just completely ask way more, or get very disillusioned by the return that you potentially provide. Someone like, oh, we thought you were going to get 1 million views. I mean, years and years ago, there were sponsorships that were coming out that actually wanted you to guarantee you would return a set number of views. And I'd always respond to them saying, no one can guarantee you a set number of views. It can tank. Okay, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to attach this to the best possible fitting bit of content. I think it can, but there's no way. They were like, oh, we want you to guarantee 100,000 views. And I'd be like, unless you pay for a promotion, or unless you guys are like, you need to link this into the launch of a game campaign that we're going to inject it into. That's poor marketing to come with that as a return on investment. And it's why any agency, any company worth their salt in terms of their marketing never asked that only ever the sketchy ones did. And unfortunately, I still see some of them around today, and I'm like, oh, when I get ones from them, I'm like, in the bin it goes.
As a sort of final thing to round this out, two things I want to go for. One, I just want to finally state, if you're a small content creator, if you've got a small audience that can convert one of these like slightly predatory campaigns, what I would say would be do at least one. Try it out, and then also use it as a use case of how you will handle other brands. Put it together as an assessment at the end, like make a small, this is how I handled this brand. I worked with this brand. Here's the details. This is the conversion. So that when you go to yours truly or anything, you've got a proof of. Sometimes agencies, if they approach you, they go, have you got any proof of?
Yeah, what have you done in the past and things like that? Yeah.
That kind of thing. So it's good to have something in your back burner.
Just be honest to your community as much as you can within the terms of your contract. Don't reveal, bits that you shouldn't do. But do be, especially as a small streamer, if you've got that tight knit, dedicated following that actually will have a high conversion, it is, your responsibility to be honest with them as much as, not as much as you can be, because you should always try and be honest, but, and say, oh, I can't say anything about this because it would breach my contract. Like, you can say that. You can be honest about what is in there without specifying it. And just say, look, I know this may not be for everyone, but I'd like to try it out. Let's jump into it. And yeah, be honest, because if you mislead them when you start, you're going to lose them building up. And then you might actually get decent sponsorships coming through and no one's going to engage with them because you'll have burnt them with essentially something that was a test for you. So just be honest from the start with them as much as you can. And also as well, if you're talking back and forth with agents as well, be honest and open about your availability, your time that you can put into it, an adaptation of what they're asking for, of how it can fit specifically with your audience. Because again, a lot of the stuff I did back and forth with NZXT, a lot of the agency that was handling that, where they were really appreciative of how open I was about what I was looking to get out of it, what I was looking for, what I was going to be able to deliver. And also I said, look, I'm actually at the moment not going to be able to start this for a little while because another kid on the way. It's a turbulent time, but I definitely want to work with you guys. And they really appreciate it. They were like, this is really refreshing to have this kind of openness. So do that. It's good business.
In a day and age where so many things are being turned to just non-human interaction, a human interaction goes a long way. Absolutely. Final thing before we do, what's the weirdest sponsorship offer you've ever had?
Okay. I don't know if it's the weirdest one I've ever had, but it's the weirdest one that's currently sat in my inbox. Super fresh organic cat food. I don't think I've shown my cats on like a video or a stream for a long, for like not regularly, not easily discoverable. So I'm assuming it can only come from like an Instagram picture or a tweet from ages ago, or maybe I have been just ground up through a mass emailing list, or maybe they think that I would like cat food because Lionheart, I mean, it's a big cat, right? But I don't know, but they were like, yeah, we want to send you like a trial box, and then if that goes well, we can set up an affiliate thing. So it's not like we're going to directly pay you, it's going to be more an affiliate thing. Fair play to them trying to branch out into the gaming streaming space for their organic cat food. So that sounds great. Like the premise of it, of saying like, why should your cat food only contain 4% chicken when it says it's chicken flavored, rather than, you know, what's happened to the rest of it? You know, it should be, and they're like, we have 100% actual meat in our stuff and things like that. And I was like, you know, it's a good brand message. I understand it. I just don't think I'm going to have a particularly good conversion for you, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be the right deal for me. Actually, no, I can broadly say what the worst ones are that I've had. It's when you get like a random Chinese tech company emailing you saying, hey, we have our new line of hair accessories, and I just went, I'm bald, and sent that back, and never again. There we go.
I don't have any really interesting ones right now, although I will say on organic cat food, if they offered that to me, I would have to just turn it down on the fact that my cat changes what cat food he likes to eat like every week.
Part of my response I was going to say is that my cats are on dry food only, so they don't have wet food, and also they're on like special food dietary control stuff from the vet. I understand your message and I think it's really good, but like, if I'm going to use it, I'd want to actually promote it. I want to be like, my cats are loving this. Look at their glossy coats. Meow, meow, meow.
Here is the cat. He's eating it live.
Here is the cat. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. That would be a great one. Cat cam eating. Like, that's how you do the integration. But unfortunately, I can't because my cats are assholes.
All cats are assholes. They're just
cats. Yeah. They're cuddly.
No, the weirdest ones I have at the moment are spam ones. And I want to point these out because there's a big thing going around. Please do not click on them more than anything if you are a content creator. If they have the words business consulting in the email title, business consulting at Midgeman is the ones that I constantly get. They're normally from an email address, which is someone's name followed by a random set of numbers and then some various website. And I'm going to read one live for you, which is, hello, Midgeman. Hope you are doing all good. This is Nino from Cobb. We kindly request a collaboration. Cobb is a brand that focuses selling on bathroom products worldwide. Below is one of our latest upgraded shower heads. Here is info about the campaign. Brand name, Cobb. Product type, handheld showers. Product link, looks like an Amazon link, but if you look at the end of it, it says mytitle._DP. Do not click that link. This product will be given to you, and we look forward to exchanging our product for a YouTube video. That was in all caps. So, will this work for you? Please let me know if you are interested. Best regards, Nino. Sorry, Nino, I'm not interested. That was from a couple of months ago. The other thing about these emails is all of them have, in Japanese, a box below, and then it says Japanese text, and then it's click to unsubscribe. Don't click that either.
So just sign you up to more mailing lists. I feel with those you could play almost, is it dodgy translator or is it AI? I think most of the time it's probably dodgy translations.
I think it's dodgy translation. That was actually one.
I think we're going to see more AI ones though soon.
But the main problem with these is I get one of these like every 3 days at the moment. You can't get rid of them. You can't click on any of the links. and they're always from a different email address. I'm tempted to ban the phrase, like auto spam the phrase business consulting in an email title and see if it gets rid of them for a bit, because they all start with that for some reason.
One of the ones I found the worst actually that I got was when they did that whole, they sort of spoofed the email it was coming from, so it looked like it was coming from my email. So even when I click on it, it says, press at Lionhearts NZXT, and I was like, one, I don't like that. That's scammy, hackery. Like, I don't like that. And they were like, hey, we're emailing you from inside your own inbox. Ha 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 ha. And I was like, ha 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 ha. Off. That's not the way to grab my attention. They're like, we've grabbed your attention, right? Because we're emailing from, and I was like, no, I hate that, because that makes me genuinely, like, that panics me, thinking like, oh God, what keylogger, like, has had something come through or whatever, and you're like, ugh. But yeah, apparently that's a very common thing that people do. The spoof, you can spoof. I don't understand how in this day and age that's still so easily done. Always makes me think about like the older generation that isn't tech savvy. If you suddenly think you've got an email from yourself coming from your own address, you're going to end up clicking on probably whatever they're putting in there, which is going to then steal all sorts of stuff from you.
Yeah, some basic safeguarding things is if it's an email address you don't recognize, if it's an email you don't recognize, even if it's a generic sponsor, do what Hannah did when we reached out to her for the podcast, which was she then found me on Twitter and followed up and goes, is this you? I've been having a load of spam things recently.
Oh, it's always a good way of double checking across.
Try to verify
multiple different bits.
Try to verify across platforms. Don't click things that look like PDFs. PDFs are a real bad thing at the moment. Currently, a lot of you see when YouTubers have their channels hacked. At the moment, a lot of that is through them clicking what seems to be.
Please turn on two-factor authentication if you don't have it.
No, it doesn't matter. It gets past two-factor, because essentially is what it does is opening the PDF. It turns if you're in Chrome or whatever internet is, basically spoofs your entire browser and all your cookies and everything, so they basically have your two-factor and your log on.
Oh, so it gets you logged in, yeah, and then they go in and they can change it,
and then they go in and change it. They're behind the wall already,
but still have two-factor authenticator on for most things, because it will clear most things, but don't click dodgy PDFs.
Yeah, don't click PDFs, don't click links in emails unless it is someone that you verified that you know this is from. Because there's a lot going around. Just stay safe out there. And yeah, I think that's where we'll round out today's episode. So thank you for listening. Remember to rate us wherever you're listening to, turn on your auto downloaders, and you can get in touch with us at hello@uploadpodcast.co.uk. And we will see you next time we upload.